Hello, a very good day to you all. We are on the beautiful North African coastline in Saidia, Morocco, as the elite women take centre stage. World Cup action here on the World Triathlon circuit. And these athletes, Gillian Sanders, will be looking to try and impress with pure power and pace, perhaps, out there on the bike and the run. It's a long walk down to the beachfront and the starting area. It's a fairly long jaunt back up to transition as well that these athletes will face after the swim. Also got the peculiarities slightly of the course. That means we have a T1 and T2 in very different places as well, positioned out there. There's going to be a lot just to keep your eye on, and a few subtle differences than what we often see on the World Triathlon stage in these World Cup and of course on the WTCS events as well. Just something extra for the athletes to focus on as they all start to line up down there on the beachfront. Early step from Marta Pintanel, and then had to just retreat for a moment as they go off into the water. Those yellow swim caps of the athletes wearing numbers 1 to 10, all favouring that right side of this course as they will swim out to the first buoys and start the first lap of the 750-metre lap swim.
Yeah, I think that's Eva Goodison, number 4, the New Zealand athlete. So she's leading them out at the moment there, the yellow swim cap. You know, in a post-Olympic year, I think there's a lot of opportunity as well. It's an opportunity for these athletes to break through. When you have a strong result in a World Cup, it's very confidence boosting as well. So, you know, it can set you up for, you know, better performances along the way. And I guess think of it as a stepping stone. Yeah,
so Goodison's going to lead them through after this first lap out there in the water. She has been able to use the sandbank to her advantage there and just stretching out a bit of a lead. The rest of the field is all streaming after her as they come out of the water. The Italians a little slow on the pace perhaps to where they would want to be. Everybody's in relatively close quarters though.
Yeah, it does look like fairly challenging swim conditions. You can see the chop there. This looks a little bit flatter as they make their way out to the far buoys, 300 meters offshore. The other athletes choosing to take a different line. Now, it'll be interesting to see, is Eva Goodison taking more of a direct line or has she gone slightly off course here?
Interesting to see. That group seem to be really veering across to the left side, almost going alongside the shoreline, and Goodison is in waters completely on her own here. It looks like it's the correct line from what we can see. Everybody else is taking a much tighter angle towards that yellow buoy out there in the water. They've started to straighten up at least slightly and are looking to bend back towards the feet of the leader. But that was a very peculiar turn of events, and did see one of the marshals out there in the water almost just swimming over to them on that.
Yeah, it looked like they were drifting off to the left. I don't know if there's a current or if there was perhaps a little bit of missighting on the actual, the left-hand buoy, the second buoy that they turn around there. So
you can see the gap she's got now, though. It's a good few seconds ahead of the chasing group of around about 12. It's a sizable margin now that Goodison's got for herself.
You just see she's having a look behind her. Can't even see anyone behind her.
That's got to be a disconcerting view when you suddenly look behind you can't see a single athlete. And you're wondering where everybody else has gone. She just needs to look over her right shoulder rather than her left one, and she'll see the massive bodies that are trying to be hot on her heels as she navigates her way through the sandbank once again. This was where she made her advantage really count in this closing part of lap 1. She'll try to do the same here on her way out of the water and up onto the beach and then into transition. Superb swim then from Goodison.
So no dramas with Goodison, helmet on, and looks like a clean transition for her. And yeah, she just needs to put her head down and make a go for it. She's got such a strong gap there. Huge opportunity for her.
8 laps out there on the bike course as Orie and the others start to make their way into transition. It's quite a tight transition area as well. If you've got a lot of bodies down there, it's going to make things a little bumpy.
Yeah, Orie's out, Prestia's out, Zane is out, Isakova, Steinhauser, Kropko, Gautier.
34-second advantage that Goodison has over Danielle Orie, the American. But coming out onto the bike, it's Goodison leading Orie, Zane, Steinhauser, Prestia. The Italians putting a good showing in then in transition 1. Isakova's up there in 6th. Thorpe, Kropko, Basakova and Riveros, the top 10, going out onto the bike, and all alone right now, and nothing but tarmac in front of her is Eva Goodison. Disconcerting. I mean, it's always better to be the chaser rather than the chased, isn't it, when you're out there on your own on the start of a bike course?
Yeah, it's a nice position to be in, but it's also a tough position to be in. Ideally, she would have hoped to take another, 1 or 2 athletes with her.
Goodison still out on her own. 27.58 she goes through.
Yeah, so there's the split. So 34 seconds, which was pretty much the gap that she had coming out of the water.
And even on her way back down this road, there's not too much to see in terms of opposition coming the other way. There they do make the cross, and that's the rare chance that this group do get to see. Goodison flying right past them. It's still around about 44 seconds according to our timing charts. The ones you just see on your screen, I think, are slightly delayed in terms of the information that we're able to put up there right now, but Goodison does still have that 44-second gap, so it's maintained and sustained the advantage. Lap 4 of the bike. It's down to 14 seconds, so there's been a huge chunk taken out of that advantage of Goodison, and it does seem inevitable now that this chasing group are going to be able to catch her and draw her back into their clutches. You can see Goodison just going through now. She's only just got away from this roundabout, so the chasing group have done their job, at least, of bringing the New Zealand athlete back into their clutches.
Just see Eva Goodison there. Unfortunately for her, they're about to catch up to her. Really strong attempt by her to make a break for it on this course. She had to do it. She had such a gap coming out of the swim.
Come to the end of lap 7, move on to lap 8. Will be still very much a top 17 with no runners and riders separating themselves from each other. You've got a long straight going into transition. Gives you a lot of time to just start preparing, loosening the shoes a little bit. You don't feel too rushed after a technical section coming into this transition area at all. No,
and very wide roads as well, Ollie, so you're not going to get trapped behind people so much, so a lot of clear space. You can find the ladies are probably going to come into T2 at pace.
17 athletes making their way into transition, led by Ilaria Zane and Marta Kropko, 2 of those that we would have perhaps expected to see in transition. That's what I mean about it's very crowded suddenly in that central part. It's the Italian Zane is going to be the first out onto the road. Rhoda and Kropko, Thorpe are going to be the next 3 behind her.
Zane, I think Ainsley Thorpe from New Zealand, and Kropko, those are top 3 athletes on the road coming out of transition 2.
Yeah, Katie Rhoda's just been dropped by those 2, Kropko and Thorpe, who are on the heels of Zane, and she's fallen back slightly into the chase group behind these front 3 right now.
I think it's experience. The less experienced athletes, they might find it a little bit more of a struggle. Some athletes might go a little bit too fast, get a little bit too excited, and that might backfire, particularly in the heat. Looks like that's Isakova coming right up onto these athletes' shoulders. So Diana Isakova.
Orie as well, the American, you mentioned her running prowess. She too has been able to get up with these athletes, and Isakova and Orie gliding past the front 3 with a fair bit of ease there.
So Isakova has decided to head straight to the front of this race here. Danielle Orie just tucking in behind her onto her shoulder. Yeah, I was just going to say, Ollie, the run course, quite twisty and turny. It's a course, again, that they are going to see a lot of each other on the course. So there's lots of out and back sections. So certainly we'll be able to keep an eye out, where they are distance-wise compared to their fellow competitors. Ilaria Zane is normally really good at her pacing. So, would maybe expect her to possibly come back if she's feeling strong.
It is Zane who's stuck down in 3rd right now. She's been able to separate herself slightly from Marta Kropko and those others around. It's a chasing group of 1 that the Italian is showing compared to the front 2. So just a handful of meters ahead.
Yeah, it looks like Orie now and again just has moments where she seems to fall off slightly. Then she's right back onto Isakova's shoulder. So, we know there is a bit of wind out there as well. So she might just be playing it absolutely tactically, sitting in Isakova's shadow there, just protecting herself from the wind. Yeah, Zane had that fabulous year in 2023 where she picked up, a few World Cup podiums. Just missed out with that 4th in Samarkand a few weeks ago. And like you mentioned, Ollie, she hasn't been on a World Cup podium since 2023, so she'll be, she'll really want to make her way onto that podium, particularly after that strong performance in Algira a few weeks ago.
The game that Orie is trying to play with her might give the advantage, as we've touched on so many times in these competitions, to the one just tucked in behind, and it's always slightly more enjoyable to be the chaser than the one being chased, isn't it? Particularly if you know you've got that strength in your back pocket of potentially a big finish come the end of this.
Yeah, and I guess there is an element of, is Orie just sitting there because she's just hanging in as well? There is an element of that. Doesn't look like it because she's been able to mark every move of hers thus far.
Isakova is making a push out there on the run, and she's suddenly finding a bit more breathing room and a bit more of a gap ahead of the American as she starts to make her move perhaps here on lap 4.
Yeah, decisive move by Isakova there. The roundabout, probably 3.5 Ks left to go. Can Orie get back onto her?
Isakova comes into the slower technical section. She's looking really good right now in terms of her pace and comfort zone that she finds herself in. Yeah, the top 5 still as they have been for the last few laps. Isakova, Orie, Zane, Steinhauser and Kropko. Prestia in 6th, the 3rd Italian in the top 3. It's going to be a superb morning here in Morocco for Team Italy if it all stays this way. It's another fantastic performance from somebody who's already making waves on the World Cup stage. This woman, Orie, Danielle Orie of America, making a real impact here in Morocco. The archway signals the end. And you have to say, for Isakova, with back-to-back World Cup wins coming her way, joining up this race late was probably a very good decision in the end. Last one in the mix, but first one out of the frying pan in terms of the heat of Saidia, Morocco. It's Isakova who takes the top step of the podium and the gold medal. She's going to be followed by the American Danielle Orie, who's been able to hold off the late push from the Italian Zane. Orie takes 2nd, and it's her first podium for the American. And the podium drought comes to an end for Ilaria Zane as she completes the top 3 with a beaming smile and a very well-earned finish. Grueling temperatures, intense racing, but a worthy top 3 to complete our podium for sure. The woman wearing the number 1 at the start of today, Verena Steinhauser, will come through to take 4th, and the 2nd Italian in the top 4. Marta Kropko starting to make her way down the blue carpet. Very good finish for the Hungarian to complete the top 5. Not quite as strong perhaps as her brother and sister this week with their podium positions, but certainly a top 5 finish that Kropko is going to be very pleased with, although it's more a face of exhaustion than anything else as she crosses the finish line. Completing the Italian force here in Morocco, Angelica Prestia makes the top 6 and makes it 3rd Italian in the top 6 with a very impressive finish indeed. So near and yet so far for Eva Goodison, who led from the swim, led out on the bike for 4 of the 8 laps, but couldn't keep a lead for the remainder of 2 wheels, and has done well on the run to ensure that she finishes inside the top 10.
It was very hard, very hot. I'm so tired.
Actually, she was participating aquathlon, but we didn't obtain a visa on time and come here so late. Just 2 days ago we put on start list, and she racing there.
13th position. Well done. It's very up. Congratulations.
Diana is a very strong season. This
my number.
You see, it's good race there. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very much for this race. It was beautiful. Morocco is good. It's great. I'm coming.
Maybe coming later.
Maybe coming
next
later.
year.
Humidity is really hard. I mean, I'm very lucky. We've been training up in Vichy, France, and I've been doing some sauna sessions. It's humid there, and so I think that like on Wednesday we did a workout in 98 degrees. The week before there was another workout, a long run workout in the heat, and so that just gave me a lot of confidence. I know that I like to run from behind a little bit more, and so there was 1.5 laps left to go, and so I was like, I'd rather be a little bit cautious. I've blown up before, so I don't want to let that happen again. But yeah, I was kind of holding on till the end.
And first World Cup podium after the 10th place in Samarkand.
Yes.
How does that feel on the road to the next ones?
You know, every course is so different. So if I were to say that this would give me confidence, I'd be so wrong. I just need to stay on top of my game and make sure that I'm good at every single situation that's thrown your way. The swim was way different than anything I've ever done before. So that was just a sign that you always have to be prepared.
I started on a pace that I felt like comfortable, but when they passed me, it felt very hard to try to keep on. And so I just tried to keep checking on me because the temperature was so high. And as soon as I was pushing a little bit more, I could feel that I was overheating. So actually I was really focused on looking ahead and just a little eye behind, but I'm confident on my second 5K. So normally I know that I can try to bridge little gaps. So I was trying to sprint towards the end, but yeah, I give my best.
The first podium since October 2023 for Ilaria Zane. It's continuing to make an impression on the World Cup stage. Probably one of the most impressive debut years so far that we've seen on a World Cup stage for some time. Such an impressive performance from her today. Couldn't get the visa to get into the Triathlon.
At the top position for pictures. Congratulations, winners.
Instead gets to come here and dine out on a World Cup victory instead. Back-to-back World Cup wins. I want to say it's becoming a habit just yet, but it's certainly a good run that she doesn't want to see stopping anytime soon.